This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. Welcome to our flower series. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to pipe buttercream tulips. The video itself is broken down into segments, so you can skip ahead, rewatch, or rewind as desired. So let's get started making our colors. We're going to use American style or simple buttercream, and we're going to use a few liquid gel colors to create our different shades. Some violet, neon bright pink, royal blue, and finally just a touch of lemon yellow. And I've got some of my lemon, royal, and my violet out on a lid. And I'm going to start out, my first color is going to be my pink. And I'm going to use just a drop of pink. I want a nice shade, not too light, but also not too dark. And I'm just going to add a tiny touch of violet to it. I want to give it a little bit of that kind of hyacinth lilac vibe. So pink with just a little hint of purple in it. So it's not like a true baby pink. It has just a little touch of that purple. And I like where we're going with that. I just want to make it a little darker, mostly just so that it reads better on camera. Right now it's a nice pastel shade. Just make it a little easier to see the details if it's a little bit darker. I think that's going to be wonderful. We've got a nice pink. It's not too dark, but it's also not too light, so you can really see it. Just got a hint of that purple in it to give it a little bit of that kind of lilac vibe. Take it a little towards that mauve. So our next color is going to be some yellow. We're going to use this for our stamens. I want it to be a nice light shade. So just a tiny touch of that lemon, a couple little specks. I'm just going to give it the tiniest little dot of purple as well. Sometimes with colors for flowers or other things, I just like to have a common thread between all my colors. So I might do something like add just a little touch of violet to them all. Just gives them a very similar feel. So make them all really nice, kind of like cool shades. Even the warmer colors like the yellow, make it kind of a cool tone. And that's a nice, beautiful shade of light yellow to go with our pink. And finally, we're going to make just a little bit of green. Just have a tiny bit down there in my cup. I'm going to go with a couple little specks of blue, just two, and a few of yellow. And finally, just that little touch of purple. And we'll give it a mix around. We just want to make a green that goes with our other colors and stands out against the yellow that we already made. So I like where this is going. The blue is feeling really strong today. So I'm just going to give it a little more yellow and a tiny touch more of that purple just to dull it out a little bit. It's gone a little sea foam. Oh man, I like that a little better. Just a little more purple. And we should be good to go. I think that's going to be nice. It's going to give us a nice little pop there in the center of our flowers. So let's talk about the bags and tips that we're going to use for this little project. We're going to use 4 12-inch disposable decorating bags. I have one fitted with a coupler. I'm going to use that with my number 12 tip, and I've got the coupler on there so I can change to my 61, which is a standard size curved petal tip. You can see I've got some of my pink loaded up in it. I don't want to load all my pink because I also have a bag with my 123 tip. This one is a larger size, so we can't use it with the coupler and it needs a separate bag that I also have pink in as well. The other two are going to be for my yellow first which I have a number 2 tip. You can use a number 2, 1, 3, anything small and round, and that's going to be for some great little stamens. And then finally, I have my number 16 on a bag with my green, and this is going to be for that pistil in the middle of my flower. So those are the bags and tips that we're going to use to make our buttercream tulips. So let's talk about the techniques that we're going to use to create our tulips. It's basically 2 things, spikes and dots. And we're using different tips to create the different effects. So we're going to do spikes with our 2, 16, 61, and 123. These will look a lot less like spikes because of the shape of the tip, but it's the same basic thing where we're doing an upward pull while still squeezing. So essentially what you want to do is kind of build a dot or a small buildup of that frosting so it connects. And then you're going to pull away while you're still squeezing. I'm going to go ahead and do one with my number 16. So for this, straight up and down, nice squeeze, let it connect, and then pull up while still squeezing. And when you're ready to end it, just pull away quickly, and that'll give you a nice little peak there on that spike. For things like our 123, we're going to hold the bag just a little bit differently. You can see these petal tips have a slight angle to the opening. So rather than holding them straight up and down, we're actually going to hold a little bit of an angle on that bag just so that the opening is level with the surface. And that's really the only difference. Then you squeeze and just pull straight up. For our dots, we're going to build an elongated one on this one for number 12. So it's kind of a theme with these flowers, right? We're going to pull up while squeezing. So we're going to do the same thing we normally do, which is hold that bag straight up and down, the opening of the tip up off the surface, let it balloon out, and then just pull up slowly. And when you're ready to, stop squeezing and then pull away. And this is going to give us a nice elongated dot or mound that you can see there. This is going to allow us to build up that tulip on it. Right? So it's going to give it a little bit of a base, a little bit of a support. Now let's talk about how we take all these and combine them to make actual tulip flowers. So let's talk about building those tulip blossoms. Our first step is going to be to pipe that center mound with our number 12 tip. So we're going to do that nice elongated dot. Mine are usually about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch tall. So not too tall, not that much taller actually than a normal dot would be, just a little bit elongated. And that gives us space to put our 2 rows of petals on. Our second step is going to be to take our number 16, pull a spike right in the middle on top of that mound, and then we're going to switch to our number 2 and go all the way around it. Some nice hairy spikes, let them get a little wild. This is going to build a nice center to help support those petals. We're going to switch to our 61 tip, and we're going to start just underneath those spikes. We're going to make it so that the opening is level, and we're just going to angle the bag so that the tip opening kind of connects to that mound, and then we're going to pull up and just kind of give it a flick across at the end, which will be a little bit easier to show you when we're actually working on our nail. We're going to go all the way around. It usually takes somewhere between 3 and 4 petals. Don't worry so much about the amount, just worry that you get that center nice and enclosed. And also, if you need to, you can overlap some of them. It'll help give them a little extra support. We're going to then switch to our bag with our 123 tip. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom, same thing. We're just going to start in between 2 of those petals that we made with our 61 and pull so that it's enclosing it and overlapping it. And you just want to end it just a little bit earlier so you can see those center petals and you can see the actual centers we've created in the middle. And that's going to give us the look of a beautiful tulip. So we've talked about the techniques we're going to use, how we're going to use them to build our blossoms. Let's actually give it a try on our flower nail. We're going to start with our bag with our number 12 tip. We're holding it straight up and down. We're up off the surface of our nail. We're going to let that frosting connect and balloon out, and then just let it build up slowly. We want to give ourselves a nice little mound to work on. So nice area around and a nice little bit of height so that our petals have something to connect to. I'm going to really quickly, so I don't forget for later, just switch the tip on this bag to my 61. If you don't have a nail block and you can't really set things down in between, you can always make 2 bags for this and just have one for your 12 and one for your 61. And then let's go back to it, and we're going to use our bag with our number 16. We're going to hold it straight up and down again. We're going to start right there in the middle of our mound. Just let that connect and then pull a nice little spike there. And then we're going to just go all the way around this with our number 2 tip and our yellow, and just pull nice little long hairy spikes. And it's fine if they flop over and kind of do their thing. Don't worry too much about it. If you get some that kind of go a little wild and out of control, just manipulate them gently with your tip and pipe another one. I just want to make sure that I'm going all around that and giving myself a nice, fun, little bit wild, little bit free look to it. Looks fantastic. So, just going to make sure that my frosting is coming out. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to hold this one. So remember to angle the bag a little bit so the opening is straight in line for when you pull up, right? So you can see I've got it kind of rocked back. And I'm just going to make sure that that opening is pressed against the side at first. And as I pull up, I'm going to even out and just enclose those little hairs. There we go. And I'm just going to go all the way around and go as slow as you need to so you get a nice even ribbon of frosting. Typically it takes me 3 or 4 petals to go over top. Don't worry about them being perfect. You just want to kind of enclose some of those little hairs a little bit. And you can see even though the petals are thin, having that frosting in the middle supports them. So once we're done with that, we're going to switch to our 123 and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to start down at the bottom and just start kind of make sure that the bag is angled so that the opening is level, and we're going to be kind of pointing out. And then as we start to pipe, we're going to pull straight up and just a little flick across the top. I just want to make sure, yep, I've got a nice little stream there. And I'm going to start in between 2, make sure it connects, and go over the top. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of practice to get your rate right so you get really nice straight petals. Sometimes my first few, they end up a little wiggly, but it typically takes me about 4 to go all the way around. And you can see from the side, you get that nice little look of a tulip. You can even play with the ends a little bit if you want to or need to. And you get a nice enclosed little tulip there. And if you want to see these in action on a cake, we've actually already done a 3D style cake with tulip blossoms. So you can head over and check out how we manipulate them, how we chill them, how we put them on a cake as well. So that is it for our little 3D tulips. We hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, you check out more in our flower series or some of our wonderful 3D floral designs. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more about the cake decorating materials and equipment we use, or just some inspirational videos about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to know more about yearly membership and what it entails, you can go to www.cakedecoratingschool.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, you can check the links in the description.